Every day on this channel, we go through everything that the president said on Truth Social, as well as his personal account without a political bias or narrative. I'm your host, Isaac, and let's get right into it. Alright guys, so big news yesterday. The FBI went to the Fulton County Election Office to investigate the 2020 election, and Trump shares a video from Fox News' Brett Baer that talks about this.
FBI agents are going through materials found today during a search of the Fulton County, Georgia election office. That search is said to be related to the 2020 election. Correspondent David Spunt has details tonight. Good evening, David.
Brett, good evening. FBI agents are still on site at the records warehouse for the Fulton County, Georgia Board of Elections. The matter is sealed before a court, meaning details are limited, but we can report this is related to the 2020 presidential election. Sources tell Fox News that agents retrieved documents, phones, and computers after a judge signed a warrant. President Trump has long made Georgia, and specifically Fulton County, a target of his complaints relating to the 2020 election. Shortly after that election, Trump spoke to Georgia's Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, and said he needed 11,780 votes to win the state. At the time, Raffensperger said he felt pressure from Trump and denied any widespread election fraud. He continues to deny it to this day. Now, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis brought state criminal charges against then former President Trump and others in 2023 for conspiracy to overturn the election. But her prosecution, Brett, was eventually derailed completely after it was revealed she had an intimate relationship with the top prosecutor on her team, and it could have tainted the case. Late last year, a judge dismissed the case in its entirety. Now, Brett, last month, the Justice Department sued Fulton County, Georgia, seeking access to 2020 voting records after state officials allegedly failed to respond to a subpoena. Fox News has learned the head of the FBI's Atlanta field office was recently forced out in recent days, but it's unclear, Brett, if this is all related.
Okay, so it seems like Donald Trump's FBI is serious about finding out about election fraud in 2020. And I'm curious if you guys think that after all this time, there really is election fraud in 2020. Or do you think this is just an instance of Donald Trump trying to get retribution for his loss in 2020? And Donald Trump shares this post from Real Robert from November 3rd, 2020 election night. It says, here's the Georgia Secretary of State Raffensperger in the early morning hours of November 4th, 2020, confirming that Trump won the state of Georgia just hours before the United States government was overthrown. The quote is, we have 2% left to go. As you can see where we are right now, it will not change the outcome. In fact, he doubles down after being reprimanded. Oh, that was interesting. We were just getting to the good part. He said, we don't guess. What we do is reports. In other words, if 100% of the remaining 2% of votes went to the vegetable in the basement, referring to Biden, Donald J. Trump still won the state of Georgia. And Trump also shares this post that reads, FBI agents have finished executing their horn at the Fulton County Elections Office and have now officially departed with roughly 700 2020 election ballot boxes. And let's take a look at this attached video that talks about this.
These may look like random truck boxes, but Jason, explain to us what is currently happening 10 feet away from us.
Yeah, David, this is a beautiful day. We've been trying to get these ballots, everything from 2020, pretty much since 2020. We've been told time and again, everything was fine, don't worry about it, why are you investigating 2020? This happened so many years ago. You know what? If there was nothing to hide, they would have showed us years ago. Now we're going to find out. These trucks are on their way to Virginia. They're going to be out of state very soon, and it is time to get to the bottom of 2020.
So basically, it's about 700 ballot boxes from the 2020 election because,
Yes.
Again, this is the Fulton County Election Office. Today, FBI executed a search warrant where they seized essentially those 700 boxes.
Everything.
And now they've officially left. This is the train, as we'll say, that's
train.
on the way, hopefully, out of Georgia.
In safe keepings.
Exactly. We don't want a judge to suddenly, and real quickly, we'll get to the judge in a second. These are actual people that you know that you've been fighting together with since 2020.
Yes.
Trying to make this a possibility. You've been here till the minute that they left, and it seems like they're probably going to follow them to make sure that everything will be fine and secure.
We've got to make sure the ballots get there and there are no hiccups.
Yeah.
But this is a beautiful day.
Absolutely.
We need to get to the bottom of this. Whoever won, we just want the answers.
Yeah.
It's time to stop hiding.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations, Jason, and to everyone here.
Thank
Seriously.
you.
Okay, so it looks like big developments are taking place in Fulton County. Trump reposted this from Eric Daughtry that says that Tulsi Gabbard was just spotted at the Fulton County, Georgia election site raided by the FBI involving likely 2020 election fraud. As ballots were seized and computers were examined, Daughtry says, wow, this is getting serious. Tulsi plays no games. Liberals are terrified at this site. Expose the fraud, show the people. Trump was right. And speaking of fraud in Tulsi Gabbard, Trump shares this. It says, breaking. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard has just released hundreds of bombshell Russiagate documents, proving that Barack Obama personally ordered CIA agents to manufacture false intelligence on President Trump and was actively working with the enemy to undermine and erode Americans' confidence in our democracy and President Trump's landslide 2016 victory. This was a coup attempt by Barack Hussein Obama and his cronies. As Jesse Waters said, whatever happens to these guys is not revenge, it's accountability. And it's time for people to pay the price, arrest Obama. So that brings me to the daily question for the video. Would you rather Donald Trump prove this to be true, drop the charges to promote national unity? Would you rather him hold these people accountable so that it doesn't happen again? Leave your answer in the comment sections below. And relating to Obama, Trump shares this from Johnny Midnight that reads, not only did Barack Hussein Obama falsify intelligence by directing the creation of an intelligence assessment that he knew was false, but he also conspired with foreign powers, not one, not two, not three, but 4 times to overthrow the United States government in 2016. And so to deal with all this fraud that's going on in the country, Donald Trump says, I'm pleased to nominate Colin McDonald to serve as the first ever Assistant Attorney General for National Fraud Enforcement, a new division of the Department of Justice, which I created to catch and stop fraudsters that have been stealing from the American people. My administration has uncovered fraud schemes in states like Minnesota and California, where these thieves have stolen hundreds of billions of taxpayer dollars. Colin McDonald is a very smart, tough, and highly respected America First federal prosecutor who has successfully delivered justice in some of the most difficult and high-stakes cases our country has ever seen. Together, we will end the fraud and restore integrity to our federal programs. Congratulations, Colin. Stop the scams. Now, we heard a lot about fraud, but on a lighter note, let's look at what Donald Trump is actually doing in regard to policy. The White House posts, America First means veterans first. That's why the Trump administration is investing nearly $5 billion to repair our veterans' healthcare system, and Trump reposted that. And the White House also shares this quote from Trump that says, we're working to guarantee that every child, regardless of where they live, has access to a world-class education and a chance to achieve the American dream. And this was Trump's presidential message on School Choice Week. Alright guys, moving on to immigration. Trump shares this post from Caroline that says, Marco Rubio is 100% right. Your thoughts? So let's take a look at that video.
One of the things I see a lot in South Florida are people that have been in this country that maybe came from Cuba 45 years ago. They've worked here their entire lives. They retire. They get $800, $1,000 a month from Social Security. And then they run into somebody who just got here from Cuba 3 months ago, is 29 years old, doesn't work, and is given $1,500 a month in benefits by our government because they're refugees. A year later, is traveling back to Cuba 15 times. So you're a refugee fleeing oppression from a place that you now go back and visit 15 times the following year. And in the meantime, we're giving you Medicaid, food stamps, health care for your children, cash payments from the refugee fund. So imagine if you've been working here for 40 years and your Social Security check is smaller than the benefits going to a 28-year-old able-bodied person who just got here. That's real. That happens. That's happening every day. That makes no sense.
And Trump also shares this post from Overton detailing how Bill O'Reilly just exposed what he says is the most important detail of the Minnesota saga and proves the media is refusing to report it. It says, listen closely. It starts with a billionaire living in Shanghai. O'Reilly says, now here's the most important part of this whole thing, unreported. There's a man in Shanghai, China, an American citizen. His name is Neville Roy Singham. He works with the Beijing government. He is funneling millions of dollars into the United States of America through 501s, like Party for Socialism and Liberation, Democrat Socialists of America, Minnesota Immigration Rights Action Committee. He's funneling money here to these radical organizations who are then agitating professional people, communists mostly, because Singham's a communist, to go in and foster rebellion. You heard that story reported? It's absolutely true. The man has been investigated by the FBI in the past. This Singham character. This isn't some organic thing. This is a foreign power. Beijing is using this American citizen who lives openly in Shanghai in luxury, knowing that this man is funneling tens of millions, probably more, into this country to try to destroy the government. And he asks, where are you, New York Times? That's the second part of the story. There's a local federal story and there's an international story. And he says, I've had it. You don't like what I'm saying. Blank you, because I'm telling the truth. And so the pressure on immigration is heating up, as the White House shares a tragedy that never should have happened. A little girl's life forever changed after a crash caused by an illegal alien truck driver in California. Let's take a look at that from Fox News.
After ICE arrests an illegal immigrant who allegedly caused a multi-car pileup while driving an 18-wheeler. That crash last year severely injured 6-year-old Delilah Coleman, leaving her with critical and life-altering injuries. And her parents join us now, Marcus Coleman and Ileana Kraus. Thank you so much for being here.
But no, we never did receive anything back from the governor. We never received a call back. We never received a governor's going to look into this. We didn't receive anything.
Even
and
a courtesy.
I actually sent them a letter. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. And I sent them a letter to several news agencies, and even outside news agencies didn't want to pick this up. To them, it was, oh, this is, a Southern California issue. Why are you reaching out to us here in Sacramento? And in the letters to them, I stated, I was like, this isn't a shooting in East LA or a hurricane on the coast. This isn't anything. This is a truck driver that drives all over the United States. And this can happen anywhere where there's a road, and I sat there and I kept sending these out and I didn't get any response. And then all of a sudden the accident in Florida happened, and I got 3 news agencies that looked me back up and called me just to see if they were related, if the driver of my daughter's accident was the same driver that happened in Florida. And I was like, oh no, because the last names were the same. I was like, no, it's not the same guy. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they just dropped the story.
We are proud to tell your story. It's really deeply affected me and Bill as we read about it and learned more about it. I admire your strength. I just want to read one thing to everybody here. This is from Christy Nome. She said that this is sadly another example of Gavin Newsom's California Department of Motor Vehicles issuing an illegal alien a commercial driver's license. How many more innocent people must become victims before Gavin Newsom stops playing games with American lives? Ileana, let me give you one more chance to just close us out here. In the time that we have and you have everyone's attention, what do you want people to know about your sweet daughter?
She didn't deserve this. She was a very sweet girl, and she still is. And you could see that light of her still shining through, but we miss who she was.
And you need some help. She needs a lot of care, and I know that you're doing a lot of it. It's not easy to do it all on your own.
And that is a very unfortunate circumstance. We've heard a lot from the administration about circumstances like this, and it seems like on all sides the pressure against immigration or immigration custom enforcement is ramping up, as there is a government shutdown over ICE funding and immigration in the coming days. Well, let's look at foreign policy for a second. Trump shares this from Patricia that reads, Canada is against the Golden Dome being built over Greenland, even though the Golden Dome would protect Canadians, proving corrupt governments do not care about the safety of their country's people. They are only concerned with China's interests. Trump also calls out Jerome Powell, calling him too late Powell, and saying he again refused to cut interest rates, even though he has absolutely no reason to keep them so high. He's hurting our country and its national security. We should have a substantially lower rate now. Even this moron admits inflation is no longer a problem or threat. He's costing Americans hundreds of billions of dollars a year in totally unnecessary and uncalled for interest expense. Because of the vast amounts of money flowing into our country because of tariffs, we should be paying the lowest interest rate of any country in the world. Most of these countries are low interest rate paying cash machines, thought of as elegant, solid, and prime, only because the United States allows them to be. The tariffs being charged to them while bringing in billions to us still allows most of them to have a significant trade surplus, though much smaller with our beautiful formerly abused country. In other words, I've been very nice, kind, and gentle to countries all over the world. With a mere flip of a pen, billions more would come into the United States. And these countries would have to go back to making money the old-fashioned way, not on the back of America. I hope they all appreciate, although many don't, what our great country has done for them. The Fed should substantially lower interest rates now. Tariffs have made America strong and powerful again, far stronger and more powerful than any other nation. Commensurate with this strength, both financial and otherwise, we should be paying lower interest rates than any other country in the world. Alright, and to finish off the video, let's look at some more fun politics from Trump. He shares a post promoting the new Melania film, and this is Melania ringing the bell at the New York Stock Exchange. And the White House posted Barb's ex MAGA, tagging Nicki Minaj. And they share a picture of Trump and Nicki Minaj together. And Trump reposted that. And we saw Trump go to Iowa yesterday. Today, the White House shared a video of the highlights of that, as well as posting, "We will make America powerful again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again." And so that was everything that the president talked about today. We saw that the FBI was sent to Fulton County, and they took a bunch of ballot boxes that were in their storage, and they're going to investigate that. We also saw Donald Trump call out Obama for coordinating the Steele dossier, apparently. We also saw him call out Canada, Jerome Powell, and post a picture with Nicki Minaj. That's everything that Donald Trump said today. As always, if you want to support the channel, consider subscribing. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. And as always, I'll be back tomorrow. See you guys later.